Hey folks, this is James Gray with Kolena coming to you with a quick demo on regulatory housing agreements. Before I hop into it though, let me tell you a bit about us to help orient. What we are is we are an AI agents platform that is built to allow teams to automate document-intensive workflows. You can think of things like creating lease abstractions, going through things like housing agreements, comparing information in between documents for any type of underwriting or version control process, and also just kind of basic document analysis and information extraction from pretty much any sort of large, heavy document. You can also use it to create standardized forms. You can think of things like estoppels and critical date checklists. But for right now, we're going to be going over some regulatory housing agreements. So I'm going to go ahead and orient you folks to this screen. These are different agents that I have designed. You can think of each one of these agents is a full workflow from start to finish, where you can drop more documentation in as you go. So I'm going to go up here and hit create agent. You can see that there's a fair amount of things that we have kind of templated out of the box, everything from just basic data entry to loan underwriting and lease abstraction. However, we're going to be going over regulatory agreements. Don't judge my on-screen typing, if you please. If I make a mistake, I'll throw myself on your mercy. All right, so what we've done here is we've taken the first step in creating our agent. Our second step is going to be dropping in a set of sample docs. And I have some regulatory housing agreements. I'm just going to drag and drop them here. And what I'm doing right now is I'm going to set up my initial workflow. You will upload, you will add extractions, just like it says on step 2 here. And then the next part is that we'll kick that into your downstream pipeline, whether that's a legacy tool, a CRM, or a business intelligence tool. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start setting up this workflow. Once I set this up, I can drag and drop as many documents as I want into it. But for right now, what I'm going to start with is a few different extractions. So what I will grab first is any regulatory compliance requirements, and I'm going to have it extract that as a table. So extract compliance. And then we'll just go ahead here and hit create. There's a couple things that are happening in the background. I'll explain that, and then I'll start going into some more extractions. So basically what happens here, as you can see, is this is pretty different from what I wrote. And what's happening in the back end here is we have a model that's taking your prompt, rewriting it in a way that the AI is going to be able to easily, or I'm sorry, that the platform is going to be able to easily understand, and then kicking that into the next part of the process. And you can see it's defined this as a table because that's what I asked for, and it's actually gone ahead and inferenced the columns out for me. So while that's running, while we're creating that report, I'll go ahead and grab a few other things here. So generally speaking, folks in this industry, they want to grab things like reporting requirements, usually the date that the agreement is effective. And then we'll go ahead and I'll give it something a little bit more complicated. I'll ask it to check and see what the tenant eligibility requirements are to be able to go into this housing. Okay, so I have a more complete report that I'll bring up here when I'm kind of emphasizing the scalability of the platform. But for now, let's go ahead and take a look at the results that we have. So we asked it for reporting requirements, and basically what it gave us is this text right here. So calling attention to a few different things. So as far as quality goes, making sure that you're knowing what you're getting when you're setting up that initial workflow so that it's going to work consistently every time. We give you paid citations down here, which can take you directly to where this information is pulled. We also have models running in the background that are going to give you a confidence score. This one here is high, so that's really good for us, all green across the board. And then in addition to these two quality controls, we're also going to give you the reasoning that the agent used to provide you this information. So once you go through and verify this on the desired extractions that we have, we can then go ahead and start dropping in more and more data and extracting these fields. We're excellent at grabbing things like dates out of documents, and in addition to that, the document was actually able to infer some things here because there was no date. So there's a couple different options that we have here. It looks like it said it's a March 2024 document, so it inferred that that would be the start date. Now, if that's something that we want the agent to do, we don't have to do anything. However, if we want it to do something else, we can just ask it to display incomplete dates as null. And we can go ahead and update that extraction. And now every single time that something like this comes in, where it would potentially try to infer a date out, it is now going to display that as null. So that covers our extraction piece, how we update extractions. You can see that it is still, and there it is. We went ahead and got that update and it displayed as null because it is actually blank in the form, which you can actually see right here. There is no date, but there is up here. So that's a pretty good example of what it looks like when something like this goes ahead and runs extractions. So now what I'll do is I will cover the scalability of it once you have stood up these types of workflows. Before I do that, very quickly, there is reporting capability within the platform. So you can see here we have a nice clean report. We have the citation and the reasoning that was given. You can go ahead and make that disappear if you like for a bit of a cleaned up report, or you can print that or share the link out. However, that's how you do things coming from the UI itself. If you hop over here into the main section, you can see you have the ability to add connections both upstream and downstream. So basically what you can do with this is where you're going to be ingesting your data. It can come from an email inbox. It can come from any of the major cloud providers. It ingests into the platform. The agent runs its workflow, and then it kicks it out to the destination that you have selected. These are the ones that I have enabled out of the box here on my tenant. But like I said, we integrate with all the major cloud providers. The same thing with the destination here. And then lastly, on the integration piece, you also have a resting API down here that you can employ to connect it to other systems. The last thing I'll cover here is we'll hop into the run section, which you can access over here, or like I just did. And what you have here is this is the table that we have created as a structured piece of data. So every time we drag and drop new regulatory requirements and add a run, it will automatically kick that into the system and start extracting on all of these different categories and populating those answers for you. So that is the Kolena Agents platform. If this is something that you'd like to take a bit of a deeper look at, feel free to reach out. My email is james@kolena.com. You have a wonderful rest of your day, and thanks for stopping by.